Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salamun alaikum, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to episode number 2 of our Radio Resistance podcast. I'm joined here with my co-host, Brother Zubair, and along with a very special guest we're hosting today. Brother Zubair, could you please go ahead and give us an introduction to our guest before we begin?
Yes, wa alaikum salam, Kumail Jan. We're joined by a very special guest, Sheikh Abdullah Anas, who was a close friend of the national hero of Afghanistan, Ahmad Shah Massoud. Brother Anas is originally from Algeria, and he joined Commander Massoud's resistance. He came to Afghanistan in 1983, and he fought alongside Commander Massoud against the Soviet communist invasion of Afghanistan. He's also the famous, he's the author of this famous book. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. It's called To the Mountains, My Life in Jihad from Algeria to Afghanistan, Abdullah Anas with Tam Hussein. So this is also, we will discuss parts of this book in this episode as well. And with no further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Abdullah Anas. Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسيار تشكر از دعوات. Thank you so much for the invitation to this program and good luck for your program.
It's an honor, Sheikhana, to have you here today with us. And let's go ahead and get straight into it. So, to the mountains. Why to the mountains? And how did you first meet Shahid Amer Saheb?
Yes, I mentioned, as you see, the title of the book is To the Mountains. And then, I don't know, by accident, I was surprised when I found the context where the people in Afghanistan express themselves the same way where I found in Algeria. I heard it from my father, from the old people. When someone is not happy politically or socially, especially they use this word, this decision, when they joined the Mujahideen in Algeria against the French colonialism. And then it's easy in the memory of the people saying, Wallahi, I'm going to the mountain. So when they say this word, that means I'm going to join the resistance. I'm going to join the Mujahideen. I'm going to join the caravan. So the mountains means when a Algerian citizen say this, means it doesn't need to explain to you what he meant. It's automatically everyone knows, oh, he decided to go to the mountains, means he wants to start fighting. And then what drew my attention in Afghanistan, I heard this word in many places, in many occasions. ما بکوه میبرایم ما بکوه میرم والله اگر مشکل سیاسی حل نشود ما بکوه میبرایم. يعني I found it meaning the same meaning in Algeria, which is I'm going to the mountain to join the jihad, to fight. So that I wanted to put to mix this mix representing two culture from North Africa to Central Asia in Afghanistan, sharing the same meaning of what they want, the mountains. And so this is, I think, the idea behind it.
Yes, I see. In the opening of your book, you do mention this. And an Algerian says, "I'm going to the mountains." Word for word, it means he's angry. Now, were you angry when you made this decision to go up to the mountains in Afghanistan?
No. It's angry in a positive way, not
Positive.
angry someone out of control or just he wants to get revenge or intiqam. You know, in Islam, our decisions based on our akhlaq, our moral, our manners, our deen. It's not a personal issue. So it's an honor that when I read the fatwa, I still remember in my city, I come across with a fatwa signed by a group of Muslim scholars saying Afghanistan was occupied by the Soviet Red Army, and then the Afghani people are fighting to liberate their land, and they need their brothers in Islam to help them. And this is, it was signed among the people signed this fatwa, later on becoming my father-in-law, Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, and saying al-jihadu fi Afghanistan farz ain. It's a single obligation on any single Muslim. And so I still remember, you know, you are not talking normally Algerian people or in general North African citizens, when they decided to leave the country for different reasons, to study or for treatment, for work, for anything, straight they think to across the Mediterranean Sea and go to France, go to Italy, go to Spain. But in that age, 20, 25 years old, my age was that, to take that decision to go to Central Asia, to Afghanistan, I had many questions in my mind.
Of course.
Which airlines goes there, which what currency they use, what language they speak, uh, but that's it. They are, as far as they are brother in Islam. So these things not that matter things. Just go tawakkal ala Allah, and then I did, and then I
Mashallah.
found, and later on I found it's not only us, only the Arabs or the Muslims. I found Afghanistan became the gravity point even for non-Muslims.
Mm.
Yani in that time, you know, the context of the war in Afghanistan, it took place during the Cold War. And from that time, many British, Americans, French, whether journalists or doctors, they got addicted to Afghanistan till today. The friends I have from France, from Britain, Sandy Gaulle in Britain, or Olivier Roy in France. So Afghanistan became, even I met Sheikh Abdullah Azzam there from Palestine. I met Sandy Gaulle there from Britain. I met the other Olivier from France, from the other places. So that means Afghanistan was a place where everyone wants to join. So we were part of this caravan.
Mhm. Mhm. Very nice. I see. So just like you mentioned, you know, there were many and several individuals who went and joined the resistance against the Soviets, and specifically in this era, the Mujahideen were split into many different factions, right? How is it that you came along to, or how is it that you met uh, the Commander Massoud and specifically stayed with him along the entire course of your being in Afghanistan?
You know, my story, it's not that big different with similar stories of the other Arabs. You know, the Arabs maybe sometime, when I remember when I came to Afghanistan, the number of the Arabs before me, they were 13. I was number 14.
Mm,
Wow.
So very early.
wow.
But
Yeah.
after 88, 89, 87, the number jumped to 2, 3,000
Mm,
from all over the Arab world, from Saudi, from the Gulf states, from Egypt, from North Africa, from Yemen, from Iraq. So So for me, was not that big issue as far as we are coming to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, it's a Muslim country, and the citizens are brothers in Islam. So this
Mm.
is it's enough. After that, we started getting to know the society. You know, in Afghanistan, there are several 7 political parties, more than one ethnic, north and south. So some different. For us was that it's not that big deal. So I remember Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, he gave the khutbah of the Jumu'ah, and then after he finished, he said, the brothers who came to Afghanistan to join the jihad, if you are ready, there are 2 caravans are going inside Afghanistan. If you are ready to go inside Afghanistan, so I still remember the first time I heard the name of Jamiat Islami through one of the sheikhs, the scholars from Mazar Sharif called Mawlawi Abdul Aziz. He's from ethnically he's Uzbek,
Mm.
but he was one of the very active in Jamiat Islami, and he was representing the Bihullah, the Amir of Mazar Sharif, province of Balkh. And then there was another commander from Logar, from Hizb Islami. So I decided, I remember, I said, where is this Mazar Sharif? They said it's in the in the in the borders of Termiz, in the Soviet borders. So I said, I will go there. So I
Mm.
didn't know how far is it. It took 40 days. You know,
Mashallah.
it's it's when you say from Peshawar going to Mazar Sharif in that time,
Hmm.
it's not a Eurostar trip.
Mm. Mm.
Just 2 hours from London to Paris. Just sit and enjoy your enjoy your coffee, and then you are in Paris. It's not. It took 40 days.
Mm.
So, but the first time I visited Mazar Sharif, I stayed there 9 months, and then I came back to Peshawar, where a full report of what is going on inside Afghanistan, because I was one of the first Arabs goes to the north. We were 3 Arabs: Abu Usaid, rahimahullah, he was, and another brother, Zia al-Rahman. And then I told Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, unbelievable what is going on inside Afghanistan. These brave people, religious people. Uh, so I still remember I mentioned part of it in my book, and then Sheikh Abdullah got more excited.
Mm.
Okay, so now we have Arabs, young Muslims, young Mujahideen. They are not only in Peshawar, they spend 9 months in the north.
Mm.
And then they started understanding the Pharisee and some understanding the society. So up to that time, I wasn't. And then Sheikh Abdullah told me, this is, I have to introduce you to the other charities here in Peshawar, tell them what is going on. And then he introduced me to the former president, Ustad Burhanuddin Rabbani, rahmatullahi alayh. And then he introduced me to Hikmatyar, introduced me to Yunus Khalas, because our Amir in Peshawar was Sheikh Abdullah Azzam. And
Yes.
that time, Abdullah, in that time, was still not joined the caravan. After 1 year after this story, he came to Peshawar.
Mm.
And then I stayed 2 months with Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, active, trying to find some, anything comes, I will take it to the Mujahideen inside Afghanistan. Blankets, boots, money, medicine, anything. Quran Sharif. So I became, this is my history, this is my future, this is my death, this is my life. خلاص, this is, I will stay here. As we used to say it, بيروزية شهادات. يعني,
Uh,
يعني, and so after some time, after 2 months, I decided to go back to Afghanistan, to Mazar Sharif, to continue what I did in the last 8 9 months. But in this time, I don't know, our caravan, because we used to cross many provinces to reach Mazar Sharif. In that time, it was so difficult to travel, no possibility to use the car or to use anything, just the mules and donkeys and walking, and maybe the possibility facing the ambush of the Soviets. And so it was not a simple trip, but something, uh, I recognized there is a name and some posters even in the Pashtun area. And then the what يعني الطيارة, the air forces, air, coming from the side of Panjshir and crossing these provinces. And then suddenly people make dua, oh Allah, give victory, Allah, protect Panjshir, protect Ahmad Shah Massoud. And then, so it's repeated by accident without any calculation by the normal villagers, that making dua in the mosque. So what is this Panjshir? What is Ahmad Shah Massoud?
mm,
And then someone told me this, the poster of Ahmad Shah Massoud. I still remember the one which is black and white, not colored, with a big smile. And then that poster attracted me. I, so he took place in my mind, but not yet. I didn't decide to go. So after I received, went back to Mazar Sharif, and then I said to Mawlawi Alam, in that time, the founder of the Jabha, the Abdul Qadir Zabihullah, was assassinated, became Shaheed, and he was replaced by Mawlawi Muhammad Alam. And then I told him, Mawlawi Sahib, I have, uh, where is this Panjshir? And where is Ahmad Shah Massoud? I want to go to visit him. He said, it's not that easy. You have um, to, to, to cross 4 5 provinces. And then he facilitated to me. And then I found myself in Sultan Shira. I mentioned it in my book in details. Let me advertise my book sometime. Yani.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah,
Sheikh,
through you.
is this the picture that, or the
Exactly.
poster? This one, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
Mashallah.
this is the picture. So, and then, uh, what can I say? What can I say? Sometimes it's too difficult to find the word to express what is in your heart.
mhm,
The words are not enough to express, but something happened in my heart. Uh, the first time in Sultan Shira, this man, يعني the يعني mixed personality, complicated and very simple at the same time, merciful and determined,
mm,
يعني at the same time. uh, Easily you are a friend with him without losing we call it in Arabic the haybat. يعني يعني so that all this, the film of my reactions in يعني internal reactions inside my heart, my brain, and then that's it. Salaam alaikum. The first question, and then Farisi Gabzada Mitoni.
That was his first question.
Ah, از کجا هستی؟ گفتم چند ماه که تیر کردم در مزار شریف میگم یعنی چند some words I got yani learned some word so at least to answer the question not to establish a debate or a talk but at least can answer the understand the simple words simple questions said yeah I think do you read Quran? I said yes. And can you read some ayah? And then I read some ayah. Uh, so I found, I told him I'm just coming from Mazar Sharif. Just I was so eager to see you. I was thirsty to see you. And then I'm going back to Mazar Sharif. I just came to tell you there is some misunderstanding between brothers in Jamiati Islami inside Mazar Sharif after the assassination Shahadat of Zabihullah. So I wanted to inform you about these problems because I heard your name circulating between the Mujahideen of Jamiati Islami in Mazar Sharif in in a very high respect. So that's why I was thinking maybe you could save the unity of the Jamiati Islami in Mazar Sharif.
Mm.
And he said, I am full aware. I'm following what is going on in Mazar Sharif. And then thank you so much for this ihsas. And then he told to his someone was around him in Farisi. I didn't understand in that time, but he said he told me this after years. He said, you know, when you said this to Amer Saheb, I forgot. Sayyid Yahya told me this or Zabat Saleh. He told him, look, yak brother Arab میای از کجا میای و امی مشکلات را درک میکنه از اونجا میای از مزار شریف که نمیخواه که جبهه سقوط کند و بعضی برادران امی گپا را نمیفهمن
Mhm.
پس
Subhanallah.
يعني later on they explained this to me but I told and then after that he told me no you are not allowed to go anywhere
Wow.
either to die here, to die together, or to stay alive together.
Subhanallah.
MashaAllah.
So
Wow.
it's he said it not in an order of military, يعني, in a way of love, in a way of respect, in a way of يعني, giving the signs that you are one of us.
Yeah.
So for me also that yeah, the impression I got for the last few minutes, something happened in my heart, and especially not only Amer Sahib, the beautiful people around him, يعني so well mannered, so humble, organized. Sayyid Yahya, Commandant Muslim, Dr. Saib Abdullah, Dr. Saib Abdul Rahman, Amir Mujahid, Bihishti, Dr. Ayub, Khalil Hanani, all these brothers, maybe because when he left Panjshir, he came with a very selected people, which is maybe 100 people between fighters and advisors. So I found myself with Ahmad Shah Massoud in that time, and my journey started with him from that time.
Wow. Wow. That's subhanallah. That's the way you describe it. When it comes from the perspective of someone who's not originally from Afghanistan, it just makes so much sense. I mean, it's surprising because the people of Afghanistan look up to this figure. We respect him, right? We know what he achieved and what type of a person he was. But when we see it from people outside of Afghanistan, it's just it's I'm at a loss of words because it's clearly that who you're describing was not an like your average person. It was not your ordinary person. This was a special person that gained the respect from people of all walks of life. You come from the other side of the world, and you're captured. You're instantly captured by his persona, and yeah, it's, to me, that's amazing. But
يعني,
mhm,
yes, to continue your
sure,
impression, this is not only happened to me.
of course.
Later on, I remember when September 88, I came to Peshawar, and then in that time, Amer Saheb was in the storm of bad propaganda in Peshawar, especially from Hizb Islami.
Mm,
And then Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, after these few years I spent with Ahmad Shah Massoud, every time I came to Peshawar, and then I found Sheikh Abdullah Azzam in a very confused between what he's getting about Ahmad Shah Massoud from Peshawar and what I'm saying. And then he trust me, fully trust me. I have no agenda to lie. Why?
exactly.
I'm not Uzbek, I'm not Tajik, I'm not Pashtun. يعني, I'm not Hizbi, I'm not Jamiati, I'm not just it's just for Allah. And
Exactly.
then Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, يعني, trust me. And then this time I told him, Sheikh, look, I think now you are, because Sheikh Abdullah was so respected in the Arab world and the Muslim world, but he he got the chance to have full picture of the leaders in Peshawar because he was in touch with them daily.
Right.
1 hour he's with Hikmatyar, 1 hour with Sayyaf, 1 hour with Rabbani, with Khalis. So he got the chance to meet them because they were based in Peshawar. But the only one deprived to sell his image to the outsiders was Amer Saheb,
Mm,
because he was busy inside Afghanistan, got no chance to come to Peshawar or
Sure.
to go outside of Afghanistan. And then I told Sheikh Abdullah, now I'm sure when you go out of you go to the Gulf states or to the Arab countries, when they ask you about the Mujahideen, the leaders of the Mujahideen, you gave your statement based on your eyes. You
right.
saw them, you touched them, you talked to them. Not always when you asked about Ahmad Shah Massoud, Wallahi Abdullah Anas told me, this is yani, makes your statement your a little bit weak. So why not go and visit Ahmad Shah Massoud?
Mm,
And then in that time, Ustad Burhanuddin Rabbani decided also for the first time to visit the north of Afghanistan to meet Ahmad Shah Massoud. So it was a golden chance, golden
Wow.
opportunity. Sheikh Abdullah Azzam joined Burhanuddin Rabbani with a group, even I was there. And then this is the impression Ahmad Shah Massoud, Sheikh Abdullah got when he met Ahmad Shah Massoud. He said, uh, he wrote a book after spending 1 month with him, and he wrote a book under the title of the heroes, 1 month among the heroes. ياك مو بين قهرمنا بين قهرمان شهر بين العمالقة, we got it in Arabic, the title in Arabic, شهر بين العمالقة. And he mentioned in that book, I found Mas'ud greater than Napoleon.
mm,
Mm.
And can you imagine? I don't know. The same title, Sandy Gall, repeated after nearly 30 years in his book, writing the book. So how it's coming? This is by accident. Abdullah Azzam, Muslim leader from Palestine, Sandy Gall from Britain, not Muslim. How they come to the same judgment,
same conclusion.
Yep.
same conclusion? So
Yeah.
that it didn't happen only to me. Everyone meets Ahmad Shah Massoud, he got that impression. And then this is, I think you cannot build, make make yourself or book a place in the heart and the mind of the people if you just spend money or just threatening people. It's not going to work like that
Hmm.
unless it's gifted by Allah. And that means what kind of heart, what kind of intention you have. So this is Ahmad Shah Massoud, rahmatullahi alayh. He was يعني not only had that impression, even Sheikh Abdullah Azzam, and he wrote it in his book.
Mashallah. You know, you mentioned something very important. One of the reasons why we're here today, and we want to hear these eyewitness accounts from someone who was there. You mentioned earlier that even at that time there was a storm of bad propaganda, right? Um, sure, by Hizb Islami or Hikmatyar and the likes, or whoever it may have been, this storm of bad propaganda is still alive today, right? Um, Again, despite uh, you writing a book on your account, your experiences, Sandy Gall, other individuals who have no, as you mentioned, no um, bias, no reason to
Yes,
write anything or say anything different. And these are the accounts of the accounts you're providing show us that, you know, Massoud was different amongst the leaders of the other factions, right?
ex-
So yeah, I think it's very important for us to dispel these commonly held misconceptions or misunderstandings in relation to Shahid Amer Saheb. I think Zubair John, it seemed like you had a question earlier.
Yeah.
If so, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. No, what I was gonna say is basically to follow up on what you just mentioned and what Sheikh Abdullah had discussed is, so how was Amir Sahib? By the way, when we say Amer Sahib, for those who aren't familiar,
yeah,
Amer Sahib is a title of respect.
yes,
Basically, it basically translates to like our dear commander, our dear leader. For those who are not aware, this is the title we
yes.
give right before we mention Ahmad Shah Massoud. Because if you could say Commander Massoud, or so just in
And
case you weren't.
sometimes the Shaheed that comes preceding this Amer Sahib, just for a translation as well, it's martyr, the great martyr, Amer Sahib.
Yes.
Yeah,
Masood,
sorry
right,
for the
right.
interruption. Yeah.
No worries. No, thank you for that. I just wanted to clarify because I know sometimes someone from the outside is listening in on this and they might not
Yes.
be aware
Yes.
of this
You have a
terminology.
point.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's just good to clarify. I wanted to ask you, Sheikh Abdullah. And I'm just going to read it off my screen right now. Um, Basically, was his leadership different from the other Mujahideen factions? And the Mujahideen also translates to basically freedom fighters. Was the leadership of Amir Sahib different from the other factions? For example, in your book and the chapter called Hikmatyar, you mentioned that despite the rivalry between Gulbuddin Hikmatyar and Commander Masood, despite their differences, you never heard Masood speak of Hikmatyar with any disrespect. Whereas often, as you mentioned, the propaganda, often the other side did speak with disrespect, or they did say things that were not true. But in reaction to that, you mentioned that Amir Sahib didn't reciprocate with the same type of attitude. In fact, he took the higher road and he always showed respect. Is this true, or can you expand on this? How is he different than the others?
And sorry, to just to add one thing to that question, in the very beginning, Sheikh Abdullah, you mentioned how one of the purposes of your visiting or going there was to try to bring peace, right, amongst these different factions. So, was it also on Commander Masood's agenda to did he prioritize peace? So, to add to Zubair John's
Sure.
question, if you can.
Yes. Let me. I think I will start in two words, answering the first part regarding the political rivalry between the factions in Afghanistan. For example, Hizb Islami, Jamiat Islami. I had a very good chance to sit with Amer Saheb hours and hours, because for a long time we became just like one, just eating together, the same room, and traveling together, sharing the clothes together. I became just, I found myself through Ahmad Shah Massoud. And then, so I got plenty of time, some time, when he used to tell me the story of the Islamic movement, how it started in Afghanistan. The first time when he was living there, here and there, in Herat, in Paktiad, here sometime, and then when he was in the university in Kabul, and then the first time was when he was recruited by engineer Habib al-Rahman, and then the leaders of the Mujahideen. This is the influence of Burhanuddin Rabbani. This is the influence of Mawlawi Habib al-Rahman, Hikmatyar. So I found golden opportunity to understand how the Islamic movement uh, started in Afghanistan. So I'm not talking about 1 hour or 2 hours during the long period. Every time, sometime we have time, and then he started continue telling me the story. And then once something surprised me when I came back to Peshawar, as برادران فارسي میگه يعني وإذا عربي ساده. يعني I I took his explanation or his story. I took it because Amer Saheb, this is honest man. He's not going to exaggerate or. So I remember one day I was saying what he explained to me. I was in a group of the leaders of Hizb Islami, and then you cannot imagine what kind of attack I received. Who is this Ahmad Shah Massoud? You undermined someone, agent of France. This man is not anymore Mujahid. He signed the truce with the Red Army, and he's just busy with killing Hizb Islami in the north, which is none of them. It was right. Oh gosh, up to that much, I am blind, and it's not something for 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 long time. I can confirm I didn't leave Ahmad Shah Massoud even for 1 hour, day and night. So when did he commit all these crimes? Where? Maybe they are talking about another Afghanistan under the surface. I don't know, or maybe. So I was shocked, and then with this huge accusations and blames and lies. So this is, I started comparing between these two personalities. All this time I'm living with him, every time when he come to talk about Hikmatyar, I never heard Amer Saheb saying Hikmatyar in a negative way. Always, and the maximum thing, blames, polite blames, saying Engineer Saheb يعني خدا هدايتش کنه. يعني the highest, يعني something, mentioning something where he's not happy. Never, always engineer Saheb, engineer Saheb, engineer Saheb, engineer Saheb. Of course, saying the story of the failure of the plannings. Yani he planned coup d'etat, and the coup d'etat did not work, and many people were jailed and tortured and killed. And there is anyway, Amer Saheb, he was so wounded from this the beginning of the leadership, the style of leadership of Hikmatyar, and especially the days he lived in Peshawar. He mentioned the days of Peshawar with something very painful when he mentioned the days of Peshawar, the poverty, He was under conspiracy, especially after some people trying to يعني, what I'm trying to say, to to make the muhakama, to judge
Yeah.
against him, that this guy is working for the for Dawood Khan or something
Mhm.
things. And this is the part at this is Mas'ud, how he was fair to his opponents, to his rivals, and what I heard in Peshawar regarding him, completely lies, unbased. And then how can, يعني, let me maybe I will go back to, because it needs little bit of details, which is the human side of this commander. You know, uh, Bibi Aisha radiallahu anha, when she asked كيف كان خلق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, قالت كان خلقه القرآن. People asking Aisha, what the moral and the akhlaq, the manners of Muhammad? She said, the manners of the Quran. He was a Quran walking. Of course, Mas'ud is not a prophet. Mas'ud rahmatullahi alayhi is not ma'asum. At the end, he's a politician. يعني قابل السهو, قابل الخطأ. Maybe he do mistakes. Maybe he sometime. That is, we are not talking about an angel or a prophet. So, but my impression, and then is confirmed day by day, Ahmad Shah Massoud was just trying to follow the Quran and the path, the seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Allahumma salli ala
Wow.
Muhammad wa ala-
And for him, the first time you see the verse of the Quran, كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم. I saw this practically in the activity of Ahmad Shah Massoud. يعني Allah saying in this verse, قتال, يعني fight, jang, it's an obligation on you Muslims. Even though the qital is hated in Islam. So, in the right context, the qital, even though we hate it, the Sharia hates the qital, but sometimes in the right context becomes farz. So I saw this in the activity of Ahmad Shah Massoud. At the same time, he's a commander, he's a fighter, he's planning the war, he's busy with logistic, with planning, with training, with istikhbarat, intelligence. He is busy, a full operational room general. At the same time, you feel this man, he's not a bloodthirsty fighter. It's not tushnaykhoon. Yani, at the same time, he found himself has to defend his country, has to organize the Mujahideen around him in a proper way. But at the same time, you feel so peaceful. He hates bloodshed. He hates fight. He tried to do his best in order not to reach the point where no way except to pour the blood. He tried his also. It's completely different to another people, where the first thing they think to kill, judge people, kill people for any reason, stupid reasons. So I found Ahmad Shah Massoud, rahmatullahi alayh, someone you see, he forced to fight,
Yes.
not forced by some government or by some agendas. No, forced by the situation, forced by the duty of Islam. This is the Soviets occupying Afghanistan. You can no way to escape. You have to defend your. But at the same time, you see, he hated. He doesn't like fight, and the same time between him and the communists. And then that's why maybe you have no full time, yani enough time to explain to you the impression of the war prisoners, the Soviets war prisoners, Islamuddin, Abdullah, many uh, Soviet soldiers were, and then they decided not to go back, not to be free to go back home, staying with Ahmad Shah Massoud because of his akhlaq, because of his deen.
Now, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then
Prisoners decided to stay, right?
to
Mhm.
stay. And maybe if you see some films, Amer Saheb talking to some prisoners,
Yep.
and then Islamuddin, even not only that, he became Muslim. And then, can you imagine you stay after 30 years, you stay in touch with your war prisoner. I'm still in touch with Islamuddin and Commandant Muslim many times talking to Islamuddin. So this is the culture of jihad. And then when you compare this to what we heard later on, this bloody group, al-Qaeda or ISIS, or some people and then the name of Taliban, where nowhere to be compared. Where is this jihad? And then the prisoners, yani, as you see the right of the prisoners which is mentioned in the Quran, ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا. You see it in the prisons of Mas'ud. The prisoner wearing the same quality of the clothes of us, the same brinj, the same rice. This casa or this casserole for the prisoners, this our part, not 5 star and 0 star. So that's why maybe at the end, some people, after I finished the book, after the book was published, some people saying, are you sure you are not exaggerating about Mas'ud? No, I didn't say even 10% to
Wow.
highlight to highlight this personality. So that's why what I'm trying to say, you know, sometime to build your experience to serve your ummah or your country, whether you are Muslim or not, you need the examples in your life. And sometime that's why the biographies of the great people in the history, most of them, the analysis saying when you read the biography of someone got a good impact in the history, he got that experience in the period of 50, 60 years of struggling, of activity, and then you read the book in 1 week or 2 week or 3 weeks, and then it summarized to you a whole journey of 30, 40, 50 years. So that's why I think the new generations in Afghanistan, they have something still alive in their hand. Still alive in their hand. Unfortunately, Afghani people, not only Afghani people, as the Sheikh Abdullah Azzam said it, the Arab people, the Muslim one, deprived, they were mahroom, deprived to get the fruit of this journey, of this legacy. And then Allah, inshallah, through your generations, inshallah, you will make this legacy another time alive, and make the policy for the future of Afghanistan, where the a character where he's above of the ethnicity, above the ununity, the division of the country. You can, anything the new generations want, they can find it in the library of this personality. Right of women, it's not something يعني for propaganda or namayishi. No, the right of women, he believed in it based on the perspective of his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The, the unity of the country as it mentioned in the Quran. At the same time, the only politician, the only figure where all the factions, all the school of thoughts will never have any clash with him. Whether you are liberal, you are secularist, you are Islamist, you are just normal citizen, normal Muslim, if you are Muslim or non-Muslim, you will find yourself with Ahmad Shah Massoud. No harm. So that's why maybe this is need more deeper explanations, deeper talks, deeper debates, but there is a huge chance for the new generations, male and females. You know, uh, when I was with Ahmad Shah Massoud, many times, when you see the leaders who are planning the sometime, you know, Amer Saheb, in that period, at least the period I lived with him, his record of the victories, I cannot see it with any commander in Afghanistan. That doesn't mean he's better than them. No, I'm mentioning some facts. Yani only Allah knows who is better and who is good. But I'm talking about a record, about a legacy. Yani at least the first time he started from Pushgur, I wasn't there with him, but at least the victories, the futuhat he made after I met him, يعني I cannot remember too many. Kalafgan, Farkhar, Shahri Buzurg, Yanki Qal'a, Awi Khanom, that area in the border of the Amudaria, Nahrain, Burqa, and it's too many, which is never happened to any leader inside Afghanistan. So you are talking about, at the same time, you see around him this commandant from Uzbek, Qazi Islamuddin, Piram Qol, I don't know, Fulan. This commander from Pashtun, Engineer Omar, or Commandant Amir, or some people coming from Jalalabad, from Kandahar, this commandant from. So, living as one hand, you will never feel this is from this area and that from that area, equal brothers, peacefully. So I think Afghanistan so lucky to have a such figure inside Afghanistan. And I am sure sometime, I was crying when I saw sometime. I hope inshallah it was lie, it's not true. Some news saying there was some irrespective barai for the graveyard of Amer Saheb in Panjshir. I was crying not because it was some zarar, some harm will reach Amer Saheb Ahmad Shah Massoud. He's inshallah inda Rabbihi, he's with his God, he's left this dunya. But I was crying for this Talib who doesn't know he's Ahmad Shah Massoud. I am sure he's a victim. If he got a chance to understand who is Ahmad Shah Massoud, his life will be changed. So that's why forget about the political rivalry. Should not deprive the generations inside Afghanistan to deeply understand who is Ahmad Shah Massoud, because it's going to be in the benefit of the country, in the benefit of the unity, in benefit of the stability. for Afghanistan and for the Arab world, inshallah. So sometime, sorry, I took some.
No, 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 no. Thank you so much. This is exactly what we're here for. And uh, basically, what I'm hearing here is that Commander Massoud was, as reported by those who actually did spend the time with him, like yourself, that he always valued human dignity. Even in his fighting, he was a clean fighter, right? At every portion of the resistance, against the Soviets and then against the Taliban later, Massoud and his followers, as you've mentioned, were particularly dignified in the way that they led their resistance. And that's something I find, as you said right now, that you feel sorry and you were weeping for the Talib. The same. This is a shared sentiment, Sheikhuna, that we all feel. And it's very sad and unfortunate that the masses, whether in Afghanistan or the diaspora or the Muslim world at large, they all really need to understand, or would benefit from the true understanding of this character. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing that, or going into so much detail of the dignified manner in which Shahid Amer Saheb um, conducted his resistance. It's very, very important to shed light on this for others. We've now reached. I know we wanted to keep it close to an hour. It's almost an hour, but we still have so many questions, Sheikhana.
Uh,
We'll let you decide. I think Zubair John, if you agree, let's let Sheikh decide.
Yeah.
Should we end it here and then perhaps have another episode where we can finish up asking our questions, or would you like to continue going on?
what time is it now? 9:30. I would agree with make another appointment.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Part
Yes,
two.
yes, part two.
Perfect. Perfect.
Part two.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I think this was a great introduction into the biography and character and personality of Ahmad Shah Massoud. Also, I think having a part two will be really good, so that for all of our viewers, please, please, please do look into the book To the Mountains. Here it is on the screen one more time. We'll be sharing the link on our YouTube page where this video will be uploaded, and along with all of our social handles as well. If you can read the book before our episode 2, we're open to taking questions from our viewers as well, so that we can ask Sheikh here next time, inshallah.
Good.
um, yeah, so on my end, there isn't anything, Brother Zubair. If you have any closing remarks or questions to ask of Sheikh, and then of course we'll listen to closing remarks from himself as well before concluding.
All right. No, thank you. I agree with what you both said, and everything that you shared with us, Sheikh, was valuable information that can only be learned if we listen to someone like you, or to read your book, or because
My pleasure.
unfortunately there's just so much misinformation and propaganda always surrounding for whatever figure it is in the world, whoever's popular, or led some kind of successful movement. There's always going to be haters and people who try
Yes,
to
yes.
for some reason spread negative information. So thank you for everything. Thank you for joining us today. And definitely, I think we'll save the questions for a second episode, a second part. And if you had any closing remarks, Sheikh, please go ahead.
No, no, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to exchange words with you regarding this great man. Allah, inshallah, yarhamu wa yarham jami' al-shuhada.
I mean,
Inshallah, we will fix another time to continue our discussion, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Inshallah.
inshallah,
Thank you, Sheikhana.
God willing.
Shukran, tashakkur.
Ma'asalam.
مع السلامة.
Wow. That was amazing, Zubair John. How do you feel?
Same reaction. That was awesome. It was just having access to such a person. The fact that he joined us and shared all that information and his experiences was amazing.
Yeah, no, it's something. It's an entirely different thing to have someone who, not only is a firsthand, an eyewitness to the events that unfolded in Afghanistan in that era, and of course, there's much that we didn't get to ask him about as well,
Hmm.
for the later years that he spent in Afghanistan, but uh, that point that he also mentioned, he's like, "What? I had no reason to be
Like no
taking a
motive.
side, no motive, right? It's completely unbiased, and we're very fortunate. I'm very grateful for having the opportunity um, to have held this session, and like we said, we'll definitely be holding a part two, and um, we covered. Or Sheikh Abdullah went into the different facets and aspects of the the way that Commander Massoud, uh, how he fought, how he resisted, and what separated him or made him different from mainly the military aspects. That's what Sheikh Abdullah covered. But I
Yeah,
believe, inshallah, in the next part of to this episode, or in our next episode, inshallah, I'd love to expand on the other dimensions, because remember, Shahid Amer Saheb is a very multi-dimensional personality and figure. Um, he's very well read, and I think Sheikh Abdullah touched on this, and he does mention these things in his book, but not just in political treatises or in the battlefield, but in arts, right? Um, he graduated from Lycée Istiqlal, one of the most prestigious high schools in Afghanistan. He was very well spoken in conversational French, I believe, to a degree of fluency.
hmm,
Is very fond of Charles de Gaulle. There's so much that we can go on in this regard, but I just wanted to mention that, inshallah, on our future episode, on our next session with Sheikh Abdullah, I think we should touch on these um, dimensions or aspects to Shahid Amr Saib's personality. And in our ultimate objective and goal of uh, shedding more light on some of those misconceptions and misunderstandings in relation to this figure in history.
absolutely.
Um, so yeah, I think we can go ahead and end here, Zubair John. If was there anything you'd like to add?
Uh, well, the only other thing I would say is that we had a bunch of other questions that we wanted to ask, which would have added to the content of the episode. But you mentioned a couple of them right now. Do we want to mention the rest, or should we just save them for the actual episode in terms of like what we want to discuss as a preview, or maybe we'll take it when we get there.
Yeah, no, let's just let's save our questions. But of course,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, to our dear viewers, please, there's on our website we have an email address. You can reach out to us directly on social media as well. Perhaps we'll add a poll with some questions as well. But any questions you guys would like us to ask of Sheikh Abdullah on our next episode, please do send them, and we'll try to get through as many of those as we can, inshallah.
Inshallah. Yeah, God willing, that sounds like a plan. That's all for me, Kamal John.
All right, sounds great. Thanks again for everybody. Thanks again to everyone for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Radio Resistance podcast, and we look forward to seeing you guys again, inshallah. Take care.